Hello, it's Damian Questiny. Thank you very much for coming on board. We're going to discuss imagination, how to organize, control, and implement imagination into a way that allows for seeding, growth, and then hopefully eventually harvesting. So what you can imagine, you can achieve. Things that you learn on this channel had a Trinity built in to the system. That Trinity can generally be called remote viewing, time travel, and magic. And I guess you could say, when you put things out into the world publicly, there are others that are sensitive to the information, who have studied the art of listening, the art of words and language, and what everything that we say, we are casting spells. Perhaps that's why they call it spelling. Maybe that's why they teach us curses or cursive. The words that we use, the words that we choose in the moment, actually come to fruition when enough energy, information, and repeatability is put behind that. You'll notice that our minds will suit our reality and our environment due to the repetitive nature of the information that we are receiving. So we tune in to this through these processes. I'm not talking about brainwashing, because that is the weaponized version of what I'm discussing. I'm talking about the language in which you personally use and take ownership and responsibility of each and every word you choose. Which brings us, again, to imagination. If you want to see your imagination become reality, then the words that you choose lay a path for you to achieve that. So why do I subject you to these videos? The Holodeck Training simulation is a designed matrix for focus. It's also to in-tune your imagination. You harmonize with your environment in a way that you move elementally. If you choose water, you flow. If you choose fire, you're fierce and you burn. Depending on your environment, influence, and rhythm. Through remote projection, you have to have a mechanism to reestablish the environment in which you are trying to penetrate, to recon, to explore. And you do this through a very specific technique called permission. This is why it is not aggression. When you perform remote projection, the closer you can establish your environment to mimic the environment in which you are trying to locate, the clearer the holodeck becomes. And then the holodeck starts filling in because you are asking permission. And these are part of the techniques in which deviate and why privacy is important. But I will give you the trinity of the understanding of how it works. And it's part of action. And action is blood, sweat, and tears. You have to perform. You have to experience, not just be an observer. You must be a participant in these techniques. Hence, why the privacy. But it's important at this point to share these ideas because the holodeck is a place in which you form to maneuver in the world in which you see. And you can use weapons, you can use tools, and it's similar to what? The Avatar movie? Where you're one place, yet your consciousness can be in another. Do you think this technology is possible, considering that we can move voices from one place to another in real time? Can we not? Pretty much anywhere in the world. Does that technology exist? What about bodies? Do we have the technology to create bodies but not animate them? Could it be possible in the future that we had the ability to move someone's sensory apparatuses into others, so to speak, using technology? Is there a way to separate the frequencies? And does color play a role in those frequencies? So let's get into the tinfoil hat stuff. Space Force. What is space? I'd like to define space here as more land. I like to define space as new continents to explore, resources. Does the world produce people like a apple tree would produce apples? How many different species of apples are there in the world? I hear there's a lot. So, when we open up more land, we will require warriors, protectors, fighters, and hunters. These people will be necessary to be in our forces. Very patriotic, would they not be? Defending the human race. So, with permission, we allow the target to add the environment to our holodeck. Through permission, we allow the data in detail to position itself, and then we create a cadence and beat to flow within that matrix. These typical techniques that you find here are live action because I like to show through an entertaining way how a warrior, fighter, hunter can go to battle. What you can achieve. So you bring those tools to your holodeck and you perform and participate in remote projection to collect, receive, and transmit within the environment until you are in harmony. And then you center your data and information into your body in an organized fashion for memory recall. And you encrypt it in your body, which is unhackable. So, okay. The organization of the body. First of all, time and timing are necessary in the holodeck. You have to be in the correct position, in the correct place, in order to move freely and collect as much data and information as you can. The smoother the movement, the more in tune the body is in time. This is where Saturn comes in as a manifestation in the spiritual aspects of things, so to speak. So with time, there is past, present, and future. That's the trinity of time, right? We understand this. When we analyze past, present, and future under the Elemental Hypertech system, it's organized as the past is the mind. All those I remember whens. The present is the heart, where your hands come out of, because it does things in the now. And your gut is the future. It is intuition. It feels something coming. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Be prepared. Be ready. Right? Takes food in, knows what to do with it in the future. Like a factory, production. The capitalists would call it profit. The gut. Anyway, so these aspects are organized with being at the right place at the right time. So that way you are in position to receive whatever gift the holodeck is presenting to you. Whether those are stresses in your life, whether those are joys of pleasure, pain, perhaps you're trying to sculpt a new body. Perhaps you are working out a relationship. Your thoughts are consumed with your job. And you enter the holodeck and provide a mechanism of exploration and quest for that. Give it life. So that way you can tune your imagination to your future, to what you want to see in the world. I'll give you an example for the people who listen to me for cryptocurrencies. And whatever timestamp this says, maybe I'll put it in the description below so people who just want to hear crypto. One of the things I'm really encouraging is this idea of growing your own food. And you can even create a cooperative amongst your friends and family and people you trust and hold dear, where maybe one of you can grow lettuce and one of you can grow grapes. And then if you have excess, you can trade and you can use cryptocurrencies as your mechanism for your community of friends and family. And then you can have a website dedicated to that for all the excess in which you produce in your own backyards, in your own living rooms, in buildings that are empty in your neighborhoods. You can turn these into flourishing gardens, and you can trade them amongst your friends and family. And then you can sell the excess using crypto to other communities if you like, and you can have a rating system built in on a website for the buyers and the sellers. So the farmers can be rated on their product that they're producing, the quality, the taste, even the look if you want. What aspects they use. Is it non-GMO? What kind of soil do they use? You can get really detailed and learn a lot about how to get your hands dirty. Get out into the sun. Get away from the sunblock and into the sun acceptance and enjoy it. Feel it. Feel the warmth. Connect. So you rate the farmers and you can also rate the buyers because you guys know each other and you can get to know each other better. You can use Bitcoin if you want to. So that's an example of things that you can imagine within these simulations. You can change the world one tiny little bit at a time. So that's time. Mind also associates to air. Always changing, never still, always moving. You can't ever seem to hold on to it. This is air. This is mind, reason, and intellect. What's interesting about that is the mind seems to know when to conjure the right memory from the past up. It seems to really have a grasp of just the right bit of information you're looking for out of all the experiences and perspectives you've had, all of the stress and joy and pleasure and pain in which you've endured. It seems to have remembered that in a way. So that is air in this system of the Holodeck Training. So all information that comes from that is organized there. Fire in the heart, which is your will and your desire. Passion, motivation. Yeah. What do you fight for? What do you protect? What do you love? What do you care about? That's the gut. That's feelings and emotion. Water. It's where you organize the currency, the treasures in which you take in. See, treasure is not something outside of yourself. It's also inside of yourself. In fact, that is the greatest treasure. Is even some would argue the only treasure. But you must consume the world's treasures in order to receive her gifts. And that gift is energy. Life is her gift. The gut, water, get to know her. So, of course, earth being the body, what you're made out of, the substance, the material itself, flesh, right? That's the body. The body just wants to see it done and do it. Show me. Don't tell me. Just perform and participate. That's the body. Also, curiously, Earth in the elemental system is like Saturn, where Jupiter is like air. Mercury and Venus, right? Because you have two hands, magnetism, Venus, and electricity, Mercury. Pressure and temperature in your heart with a beating of breath, another duality, Mercury and Venus, right and left, in and out, positive and negative, forever. Fire. Neptune in the gut. You see, it's all encoded in reality. Hence the holodeck. Because it's encoded in reality, you can structure your environment synergistically. But it takes effort and it takes work. And this is where the rubber meets the road.